Attention. Ladies and gentlemen, let me have your attention, please. Every day here at the Grand Hotel, we celebrate its unique history while honoring its ties to American freedom. We start here in the lobby and march out to the Cannon Park, where we shoot a Civil War period 6-pounder and relate the history of the Grand Hotel. You can march with us around the buildings to the Cannon Park or take the more direct route through the Grand Hall, down the steps. That will take you straight to the Cannon Park. And you can sit in the shade and watch us march up. There will be a small lagniappe or bite, some tea and cookies in the Grand Hall afterwards. So please come join us. Without doubling, left, right, face. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good afternoon, my name is Michael. I will be your cannon captain today. Welcome to Grandeur, Grit and Glory since 1847, a tribute to the Grand Hotel's rich history. The Grand Hotel has welcomed generations of guests since it opened in 1847. An enduring landmark and tribute to Southern hospitality, the rich history and traditions of the Grand Hotel, the Queen of Southern Resorts, still exists throughout the resort. Underneath all these beautiful oaks, history still lives. We have served as a Confederate hospital, a World War II training site, and now as a world-renowned resort and golf course and part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. During the Civil War, this area was a Confederate hospital and a camp for the 21st Alabama Infantry. Soldiers that had been wounded and surrendered at the Battle of Vicksburg, Mississippi in 1863 were brought over here under a flag of truce on steamers to the hospital at the Grand Hotel. Over 300 of those soldiers did not survive their stay here and are buried in the cemetery across the roads called Confederate Rest Cemetery. Regrettably, the identity of those soldiers was lost when the ledger containing their names burned up in the fire of 1869. And it's only been through pretty extensive research that 40 or more of those soldiers' identities have been discovered and properly marked in the cemetery. Just south of here, that way, was fought the Battle of Mobile Bay, which is the largest naval engagement that's taken place in U.S. territorial waters. You may remember from your history books, that's where Admiral Farragut said, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." Actually, it could have been more like, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." But either way, he did what he said he was going to do. He was a very brave man and fought the Battle of Mobile Bay at 62 years of age. And in order to see above the smoke, he had to climb way up in the rigging. The entrance to Mobile Bay, where the battle took place, is 16 miles due south at this point. And the entrance there is under 4 miles across. On the western side of that entrance is Fort Gaines on Dauphin Island. On the eastern side of that entrance is Fort Morgan on Mobile Point. Between those two forts were piling obstructions and torpedoes, what we today call mines. Over 300 of them in 3 staggered rows. The only safe entrance into Mobile Bay during the Civil War was right under the guns of Fort Morgan. On August 5th, 1864, Admiral Farragut with 18 ships in the assault line, 4 of those ships being ironclad vessels. On that date, he steamed between those 2 forts to fight the Battle of Mobile Bay against a Confederate squadron of 4 ships, one of which was a very large ironclad Confederate vessel, the CSS Tennessee. One of the lead ships of the Union Navy, the USS Tecumseh, which was one of the ironclad ships, struck one of those torpedoes or mines and sank within a minute. So 93 of its sailors, as well as Captain Craven, are still on the bottom of the bay in a permanent grave. Now, during the 1800s, the bay boats or steamers that brought people to and from the Grand Hotel played a major role in the Grand Hotel's history. One of the most famous of those was the Ocean Wave, which blew up here on August 27, 1871. Killing 35 people and wounding a couple of dozen more. The Texas Bar was used as a temporary hospital for that particular boating disaster. Now, during World War II, this whole area served as a training facility for U.S. Army Air Corps and naval personnel in what they called Operation Ivory Soap. Now, that's where the Navy and the Merchant Marine were training U.S. Army Air Corps ground service personnel how to be Navy so they could safely man ships to cross the Pacific and set up air bases, floating machine shops, and floating aircraft repair facilities in places like Guadalcanal, Guam, and the Philippines to fight against Japan. So throughout 1944 and 1945, the Grand Hotel was basically closed to the general public, and it was mainly Army and Naval personnel here undergoing training. They cross-trained over 5,000 troops here during World War II, so that was a pretty significant contribution to the war effort. When we celebrate freedom, we want to honor all of our soldiers and military personnel, both past and present, whether they're alive, passed away, or lost in battle. They are all Americans, as we are all Americans now under one flag. We especially want to honor those who have served in the military in the past or are currently serving, that are present here today. If you have served or are currently serving in the military, please raise your hand. Thank you. We appreciate your service. And this flag has flown over Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, and Iraq by our military. So we honor them, our country, and ourselves every day when we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, the gun we're about to fire is a Model 1841 6-pounder. Now, this type of gun was used all through the Mexican War in 1846 and then all through the Civil War. By the end of the Civil War, most of these had been replaced by rifled artillery or the newer 12-pounder Napoleon that was bronze like this also. But this gun would fire a 6-pound exploding shell 1,525 yards. That's a few hundred yards short of a mile. And that's at 5 degrees elevation with a 1.25 pound service charge of black powder. And we're only going to shoot about a 1/2 pound charge at it today, so it's less than half the original powder charge. Plus, we're not going to put a cannonball in front of it since the Coast Guard kind of frowns on me doing that. The canister round for this gun weighed twice as much, 12.5 pounds. And the canister round is a long can filled with round ball bullets like a big shotgun shell. A round of canister could contain up to 250 .69 caliber round ball bullets in every round of canister. Normal crew on a gun like this was 8 people. And that was including the gun and the limber, which was a 2-wheel cart behind the gun carrying the ammo box. They could fire 3 rounds of canister a minute, 1 to 2 rounds of spherical case or shell per minute or every 2 minutes, depending on how much they had to re-aim the gun after it was fired. Now the gun is loaded. This is a vent prick that will pierce the powder charge, expose the powder to the fire of a friction primer. We use a Cannon friction primer just like the originals. When I pull it, it will fire immediately. The command is to stand clear and fire. We're going to say, God bless America, stand clear, and count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and fire. At that point, you might want to cover your ears or your children's ears because it's still loud. We'd love for you to count down with us, be part of the gun crew. The reason the command stand clear is given as part of the drill. If this gun wasn't bolted down and we were firing a heavy blank charge or a live round, this gun would recoil and then run over you. God bless America, stand clear. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire! Thank you. Now, every day here at the Grand Hotel, we celebrate its unique history and traditions old and new. The Grand Hotel has helped guests celebrate special events and holidays. We have golf, croquet, horseshoes, and other games here on the gaming lawn. Beautiful swimming pool, bicycles, kayaks. You can fish on the fishing pier or along the shore. Play the 36 holes of the world-renowned golf course, part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Or just enjoy walking along the bay and enjoying its beauty. But for 175 years, people have continued to return to the Grand Hotel for its rich history, traditions, and warm Southern hospitality. We genuinely hope you'll make it part of your legacy as well. Thank you for coming to the Grand Hotel. Thank you.